Welcome back here, call with the Wild Macclesfield Oval. A rather balmy, well, not really, conditions here at Macclesfield Oval. Half time, it's the Bloods 3-9 leading Chunga 1-2. I've been lucky enough to be joined by the football director of the Macclesfield Football Club, Rob Lomman. Rob,
yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Lovely to see you, mate.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jeff. Good to see you guys out here, especially on a day like today.
It's great that you've turned on Macclesfield's best for us. So, yeah. Now, mate, as I said at half time, it's a 19-point lead to Macclesfield, and I believe something like 20 years. I know you haven't played them for 12 years, but 20 years since the Bloods have beaten the Chunga in A-grade footy.
That is correct, yes, and that was the first year our current president, Craig Lallard, was the coach.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, from memory, or what I was told, that was 28 years prior to that we'd beaten them, so the late 70s. So, yeah, no, it's certainly not something that we're accustomed to doing. We sort of know how powerful Chunga are as a football club, and they've been up there for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time.
But great. But now, just tell us about the Bloods this year. It's great to see the Bloods up there, as you said, having not won a flag since 1980. Another stat that they probably want to get rid of. But this year, just a bit of B grade had a good win there, sitting on top of the ladder as well. A grade currently sitting on top of the ladder, and also a C grade this year that you've put in probably for the first time. So the depth is building here at Bloodland.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, we had a couple of situations last year where we, had 20 odd guys missing out on a game. And, we sort of figured we'd need at least 80 to pull off a C grade. But yeah, the depth at the moment's fantastic. We're lucky we got guys that were full-time A graders last year that have copped their lot as far as, playing B grade football this year. And they know they've got to, perform to get picked for A grade level. And look, and obviously the A grade have been, very good so far. It's probably came together a little bit better than even what we'd hoped at this point of the season. So
Yeah. And as a footy director, it must be great to see like the depth that the club has got now. But because when you take into account, not the biggest place, Mackie, seem to attract players, but also the fact that, juniors, I think you have a 14s this year, but you don't have that senior cult capability at the moment, but hopefully that will come in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the 17's probably been the one thing that we have struggled with in recent times. The Katie Mattingly and her crew with the juniors do an unbelievable job. I know how much work she does in particular. So that's credit to them. And hopefully we can convert that into a 17s or 17.5 in the near future. That would be nice, because obviously that's what becomes your A grade football. Is certainly. That's a tried and true thing, that's for sure.
And your recruits, I know there's obviously the networking situation. You've got a couple of boys up, obviously, from Port Districts. Some have played here, obviously took their mates in, and also Morford Vale. So just a networking thing. And, what a lovely place to play football, Macclesfield. I suppose they sell that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one thing is, as you'll see today, the Oval, it's a far cry from what it used to be back in our day.
Yeah.
By now it would have been like a mud patch, so that was a credit to the people at the time. And that's something, we do sell to players that you're not going to be playing on a cow paddock. And I think that does go a bit of a way. And we were fortunate with the connections as well in this off-season. That's with our co-coaches Neil, Reeve and Johnny Fitzgerald. They both went to work. Certainly made my job a bit easier. That was for sure.
Yeah. Hey, of course, Macclesfield in the news during the week when I had AOM. I thought, good on you, Rob. But of course, Joy Edwards and long overdue, because we've spoken to her previously about her service to the football and the club in general. But to see her recognised on AOM, if you just want to tell us a bit about Joy's input around the club.
Oh yeah, Joy. And that's what brings a smile to the faces of people. So far, the fact that we want to be able to put a side out there that people like Joy can get to see, because she's been involved with the club for, I think it's over 50 years. Been as documented the treasurer for over 40 years.
Probably used to chase you up to pay your subs when you were a 5-year-old, eh?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, most likely. And her and Trevor are still great supporters of the club.
Trevor out there in the goals at the moment.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be easy out there today. No. I can say that from experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, and also a bit of a sad day for the club, because the Black Arm Bands, we did mention, the passing of Brendan Hankey, a life member and also Hall of Fame member.
Yeah, that's right. Brendan, one of those ones we probably didn't see a heap of him in more recent times, but obviously his brother Kingsley was a great player here and a coach, and I've had a lot to do with Kingsley over the years, so I know he'll be obviously feeling it. at the moment. But yes, no doubt during the week there'll be a very big turnout for Brenton, whatever day that ends up being. Definitely a sad day for the Macclesfield Football Club.
Yeah. Hey, in the country division games that we've done this year on the Quarter Wild, very good competition. The standard is high, and as we said, well, coming into today, there's 3 teams sitting on equal points at the top of the ladder. So, just what you've seen so far over the previous 6 rounds.
Yeah, look, it's obviously Gummaraka, they've lost a lot of quality, but they're still got a strong culture. Kersbrook and Kangarilla have probably been the 2 most impressive sides so far, other than Achunga today, of course. And Achunga came right back in that second quarter. I felt the scoreboard probably doesn't do it justice. So and Achunga won't take this lying down. So it's that. But those 3 sides, we feel of what we've played, but Meadows. And others,
You can't write them off.
No, you can't write them off, and we've been stung by them before when we thought Meadows in particular when we thought we were going well. So, no, it's definitely a very high standard of competition. I feel, definitely that's how I've felt watching a couple of games this year. I think people will be surprised, especially in Division 1 or Central Division. Standard is probably quite high.
I know your time at the club, which has been a very long time. The expectation or the anticipation that, as we said, perhaps if we turn the halfway mark of the season, the Bloods will be on top of the ladder. I can't remember that in recent history, and probably you can't either. So we're not getting ahead of ourselves, but just the feeling at the club that seriously this year might be, who knows, 1980, a long time ago, and perhaps this could be it.
Yeah, oh look, we're certainly striving for that. I think there's a good feeling in the playing group, and I mean, just as a little aside, I mean, when in 2023, when we couldn't quite make the grand final, we actually probably had to take stock and look at this as a 2-year thing. I know everyone wants to win now, and it's not that we gave up on last year, but just the point situation probably didn't allow us to do certain things last year, so we had to just basically bide our time pretty much. It was always going to be about 2025 more so than 2024. So, but thankfully we got some great players in like Tarrant Tamayo last year to get him in as a 0-pointer, and he helped with getting Nick Mitzathras to the club as well, who played in the HFL game last weekend. So and he's certainly coming along very well as a footballer, living up to expectations. That's
Blake
for sure.
Carter, he looks a handy type.
Oh yeah, no, Blake. I know my predecessor. We've spoken to him a few times because there was connections outside of football actually with Blake, but we just couldn't quite happen. And look, I'm a realist as far as obviously Morphett Vale is struggling a bit at the moment, and give Blake and Michael Smith perhaps a bit closer to the end than the start. It's probably would have been a tough situation for them. So no doubt that would have helped get them across the line.
I suppose a bit of the lure was the fact they didn't have to change their shorts or socks, the red and black colours.
No, that's right. And we know Morphett Vale, they have been a powerhouse in the last few years, but obviously they are going through a bit of a rebuilding phase at the moment. So,
hey, just quickly, we had Craig Lallard, the president, on a HFL chat panel show a few weeks ago, and we mentioned to him then about the community feel around Macclesfield. And like even today, a pretty miserable day, but it's a good crowd in. As I said to him, you could have a game of marbles on this over and you'd pack it out, wouldn't you? It's just that community feel that Mackie has.
Yes, I think so. And I mean, maybe in the past in the recent past, that hasn't always been there. But I mean, today feels like a past players' day up under the complex, and that's actually not for another couple of weeks. So no, it's great to see people come out. Obviously, a top of the table clash at home is going to generate interest as well, with especially with former players. So no, I think it's a pretty good crowd, especially considering the conditions.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, the Bloods siren goes. Bloods are out in the ground, so we'll see a resumption of play. So 19-point advantage. I suppose you'd have to tip them. Hopefully just keep playing wet weather footy as they've been doing.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be the team that plays the smartest from here. I mean, that's obvious, I know, but if you try to get cute in these conditions, it's going to either side, it's going to come back and bite you, I feel. So really just about playing smart football from here on in to get the chockies, I feel.
I tell you what, mate, I know your other favourite sporting pursuit is softball, so we're a long way off those conditions at the moment, mate, aren't we?
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's not totally unusual to play in these sort of conditions, believe it or not, but few and far between though. Yeah.
All right, Robbie Lomman, Football Director Mackie, thanks for joining us, mate. All the best for the rest of today and also for the rest of the season. And all right, half time here at HFL Chat. The game's just about to start, so we'll be back shortly.